Imagine picking up a bottle of Tylenol, a brand you trust, from the pharmacy, only to discover hours later that it wasn't just medicine, it was murder. In 1982, this nightmare became reality, and no one knew who the killer was or why they did it. The Chicago Tylenol murders are still unsolved, and the chilling effects of this event echo in American history. It was a calm, autumn morning in Chicago, and people were going about their daily routines, completely unaware of the deadly chaos about to unfold. On September 29, 1982, a woman named Mary Kellerman, just 12 years old, complained of a headache. Her parents, like most families in America, trusted over-the-counter medication to treat minor illnesses. Her mother gave her a couple of Tylenol capsules. Hours later, Mary was dead. At first, it seemed like just another tragic incident, a typical case of a child overdosing on a common painkiller. But things took a strange turn. Just hours after Mary's death, a 27-year-old man named Adam Janis, who lived nearby, also took Tylenol for a headache. He collapsed and died in the same bizarre way. His brother and sister-in-law, who had heard about the mysterious death, decided to take the same Tylenol bottle to ease their own headaches. Tragically, they too collapsed and died within hours. By the next morning, the rumors had spread. 3 deaths in the same area, all linked to Tylenol. That was unheard of. Something was seriously wrong. A local hospital reported that more than half a dozen people had been admitted with symptoms of poisoning after taking Tylenol. Panic spread like wildfire. People began to wonder if they could trust anything. Could the medicine they were taking be killing them? The authorities initially couldn't make sense of the pattern. Tylenol was a trusted brand, the go-to pain reliever for millions of Americans. It was a product that had been on the shelves for decades with no history of issues. But now, with several victims in just a matter of hours, investigators were scrambling for answers. As doctors worked to treat those affected, a breakthrough came when a woman named Paula Prince from Chicago died after taking a capsule of Tylenol she had purchased just the day before. Like the others, she had complained of a headache. This time, authorities quickly analyzed the pills she had ingested, and the results were chilling. The Tylenol capsules were laced with cyanide, a powerful poison that can kill in mere hours. The discovery sent shockwaves through the city. The authorities now knew for certain that someone had deliberately poisoned the Tylenol bottles. But the bigger question remained: who could do something like this, and why? The FBI and local police were soon in full swing, scouring stores, warehouses, and factories. But despite the massive resources devoted to the case, the investigation led nowhere. There were no signs of tampering at the factory level, and the only connection between the victims was the Tylenol they had taken. It was clear: someone had gone into the stores, somehow poisoned the capsules, and placed them back on the shelves. The terror didn't stop at just the initial victims. As word spread, panic intensified. People stopped buying Tylenol altogether. The shelves were wiped clean. Parents kept their children away from pharmacies. In one of the most intense moments of the investigation, Tylenol products were recalled nationwide, and nearly 31 million bottles of the drug were pulled from the shelves, worth about $100 million. But even then, the killer remained elusive, slipping through the cracks of the investigation. With the case becoming one of the most puzzling and high-profile investigations in U.S. history, theories about the identity of the killer flooded in. Many wondered if it was some kind of random act of terrorism, an attempt to cause mass panic and harm. Others speculated that it could be a disgruntled employee at the factory or distribution center where Tylenol was made. Some even wondered if the killer was targeting a specific group of people. One of the most chilling theories came from a man named James Lewis, who had been arrested for attempting to extort Tylenol's parent company, Johnson & Johnson. Lewis sent a letter to the company demanding $1 million in exchange for information about the poisoning. But the authorities quickly ruled out Lewis as a suspect. He was never charged in connection with the murders, though his bizarre behavior made him a person of interest for a time. The public and the media began to scrutinize every detail of the case. Was this a targeted attack on the American public, or was it a random act of violence? Some wondered if the killer had a personal vendetta against Tylenol, while others believed it was simply a twisted, random act of evil. The FBI continued their investigation, but leads were scarce. It seemed as if the killer had vanished into thin air. Even after decades of investigation, the Chicago Tylenol murders remain unsolved. The FBI's pursuit of the killer went on for years, and while there were numerous suspects, none were ever convicted. The case went cold, and many wondered if the killer would ever be found. But the impact of the Tylenol murders was far from over. The tragedy led to sweeping changes in how products were packaged and sold. In the wake of the poisoning, laws were passed that required tamper-proof packaging for all over-the-counter medications. The Tylenol murders are often cited as the catalyst for the changes in the way drugs are packaged today. It was a direct response to the nightmare of a killer poisoning the public without warning. For the families who lost loved ones, there was no closure. For the people of Chicago, the murders remained a shadow over the city for years. The killer, whether motivated by greed, malice, or an unknown desire, never faced justice. As time passed, the case drifted from public consciousness, but it remains one of the most terrifying unsolved domestic terrorism cases in U.S. history. The Chicago Tylenol murders continue to haunt the memories of those who lived through it, a chilling reminder of how quickly trust in everyday objects can be shattered. The unsolved mystery remains, and the question remains, who was the person behind the Tylenol poisonings, and why did they do it? The answer is still out there, waiting to be uncovered, but the passage of time makes it feel more elusive than ever.